September here in England, so naturally I got a fire going in the fireplace, and I wanted to address a question that's actually raised on Facebook earlier or yesterday, which is, they said, you have all this crap you put up here, but you don't give any ideas on what you can do. And that made me really think about what you can do with video as a kind of a political force and as a force for change, as opposed to simply posting stuff on Facebook and calling it a day. So that made me think a lot. I could start by saying that I was going to Bangladesh for my summer holiday. And you would say, are you out of your mind? Who goes to Bangladesh? Because Bangladesh isn't a place we think of as a summer holiday, even if Cox's Bazar is supposed to have great beaches and surfing. The reason we don't think of Bangladesh as a summer holiday, because when we think of Bangladesh, we think of poverty, war, starvation, floods, and disease, and overcrowding and a mess, because nobody in their right mind would go there. And that's the problem. Bangladesh, your opinion of Bangladesh, even if you've never been there, is based entirely upon what you've seen of it, mostly in the news and on television. And what you've seen of it only represents a little tiny portion of the reality of Bangladesh, but Bangladesh is a victim of CNN and BBC and NBC, and the only time they send reporters and crews to Bangladesh is when there's a war, famine, disease, or a flood. So for 50 years or so, the entire history of Bangladesh, its footprint in the global community, the global media community, has been a place of death, disease, destruction, and generally horror. And I have probably no way of getting around that, because nobody is going to Bangladesh for anything else, and that's how we all see Bangladesh. Bangladesh is a victim of what I would call media colonialism. That is, the BBC, NBC, CBS, ABC, CNN, and stuff like that. They control how the rest of the world sees everything else. It's through their eyes. Now, it's not like there's some plot going on at CNN that says, let's make Bangladesh look terrible. The problem is that, if you went to a reporter and said, let's do a surfing story on Cox's Bazar in Bangladesh, nobody is going to send the crew. It's too expensive, and what's the payoff, and who wants to see it anyway? So we're trapped in these little media things of, we see Africa this way, and Syria is this way, and Iran, evil empire of nuclear weapons, is over here. And the reason is that our perception of the world is cast not by reality, but our perception of the world is cast by what the media says. Now, the reason for that was that up until yesterday, it was very expensive to own a media company. As H.L. Mencken said in 1961, freedom of the press is reserved for those who own one. And of course, in those days, owning a press was expensive. Today, owning a press doesn't cost anything. If you got an iPhone or a smartphone, you own a press. The trick is to use it. Now, this made me start to think about what could you do with this tool to evince change, which is what we all really want to do, to have more influence as opposed to simply, just doing stuff. This mojo movement that you see all the time, and I see Egan is on here now, it's great. But all you guys do is you use iPhones as though they're little cameras, and they're reporters who still work for news organizations. And to me, that's a waste of time. Nothing personal to you. You're a nice guy, and I hope you make a living, but you don't really appreciate the point of it. Let's go back to Bangladesh for a minute, because this is really interesting. There are 160 million people in Bangladesh, and according to what I could find on Google today, 130 million of those people have mobile phones. That means 130 million people in Bangladesh have the capacity to shoot video, cut it their own way, and put it out into the worldwide. That's a lot of cameras. I bet that CNN only's got like 100 cameras around the world, and BBC probably doesn't have very more. Now, I'm not saying everybody in Bangladesh, all 160 million or 130 million people, should start making video about Bangladesh, but what if they did? What if only 1% of them did? What if only 1.3 million people in Bangladesh suddenly started picking up their stuff tomorrow and said, I'm going to start making videos about what a great place Bangladesh is. Let's change the global footprint of Bangladesh. 1.3 million people flooding the internet, flooding the blogosphere every day with a different kind of a message. It's an interesting idea. It's about grabbing the power of the medium and taking the power away from CNN, the BBC, these giant media corporations who have their own agenda. Their agenda is to make a profit. Their agenda is to put stuff that eyeballs want to see. Their agenda is to represent probably this tiny little percentage of the world, which is this big. Before, when it was so expensive and difficult to own a media company or to produce the product, we gave them that power. We said, okay, you guys make the news, you guys do the journalism, we'll watch it. But that is no longer the case, and it's no longer necessary. The point is that you can take this medium now and use it for your own ends, whether it's Bangladesh trying to change its footprint in the world, or I'll give you a perfect example. Palestinians, right, in Hamas in Gaza, where I spent a fair amount of time, yeah, they fire off rockets and stuff, but they're not so dumb to think they're going to defeat Israel. The reason they fire off the rockets and blow up a kibbutz every once in a while is they want to attract the BBC or the CNN to come and tell their story. It'd be a lot easier, instead of strapping explosives to themselves, if they all took their iPhones and smartphones and started to make pieces and flood the media landscape with what crap lives they have and how unhappy they are. That's what I mean about seizing control of the media. So if you have a beef, if you have an idea that you want to express, if you're frustrated with the mainstream media for whatever reason, if you're a victim of this kind of media imperialism, which is what it is, it's no longer dominated by armies. You know, Mao said in 1927, power flows from the barrel of a gun. Today, that's not the case. Today, power flows from a video tube or from a smartphone. So grab the smartphone and take control. It's no longer even a conceivable idea that the enormous power of the global media footprint should be vested in the hands of little tiny companies, like relatively little companies like CNN or the BBC or even Facebook or places like that. The power to communicate should be vested in our own hands. This, after all, is what a free press is really all about. And this was the idea of a free press. So Bangladesh, here's my message. If the government is listening, hire me and I'll tell you how to do this for a moderate fee. But the fact is that any country or any corporation or any organization, any NGO that has a message to get across no longer has to go beg the BBC, please come and send some reporter who doesn't know what they're talking about to fly in here for a day or two, do some stupid story, we'll get a minute 20, and then we'll never hear from you again. Now you can take control of the medium. And this applies to everything, even American politics or Brexit or whatever it is that you want to discuss. We have to take the power of the control of media out of the hands of these corporate entities and put it into our own hands. And that's really revolutionary. I like the fire. It's a nice touch. So anyway, that's the message for today. And of course, thevj.com is all about training people to do that. You don't have to be Bangladesh to do that. You can be an NGO. You can be a social welfare organization. You can be just somebody who wants to get their message across. But this is really revolutionary because now, for the first time, like with the advent of the printing press, we won't get into that today, the power to communicate ideas has gone from a very small, elite, wealthy group into everyone's hands. It's a level playing field, but you have to embrace it and do it. And that's the whole purpose, and that's what we can do here with this stuff. And it's just an idea that I have now. I'm playing around with it, but thanks, Kevin, for making me think, and I think it's something we can do something with. More to come tomorrow. I'll talk to you later. I'm going back to sit in front of the fire. It's cold here. Bye.